Hi Flosstube, it's Teresa from Nerissa's Stitching Lifestyle in Christchurch, New Zealand. Welcome. This is Flosstube number 50. Unbelievable. 50 of these I've managed to do. This is my Flosstube about my cross stitch journey. Welcome to those that are new to my channel, and hi to everyone else who's come back and is watching again. Thank you so much. It's been 3 weeks since I filmed, or just over. I had some minor surgery done almost 3 weeks ago. So I've been a bit in recovery mode and not really able to do a Flosstube. But we're feeling better today, and I've been back at work for a couple of days, so I thought, well, why not? And I've got lots to show you, because while I couldn't film, I could certainly sit and stitch. So that's good. And I'm recovered. I'm on the mend, so I'm all good. And that's all we're going to go into that. What to show you? Oh my gosh. So behind me, move my head. I rearranged the wall, and I moved some samplers around, moved the TV, because where it was before it was getting all light and that on it, and it just wasn't working well. So we've moved the TV, moved the samplers around, as I said. Yeah, I kind of like the layout a bit better. There's a couple more samplers that will be going to the frames very shortly, and that will help fill up some more of that space, and then I'll decide what I'm going to do after that. Where should we start? So I think I have about 10 or 12 projects to show you today, but we'll go from there. Okay, so we'll just get started in. So my everyday stitch with my lovely group of friends, Susie, Judith, Lee, Tania, Catherine. I think I got everybody, hope so, for our red thread a day stitch along. And I am stitching Harriet Salt, and she's an orphan sampler from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. I've loved this one for a long time, so I started it last year, and then have kind of all year before, and have kind of just pushed it aside and not really done a lot on it. But now that I'm doing it every day, my gosh, this is getting there so fast. Okay, I'm just going to blow out the colour. Sorry, I had to close all the curtains. It was really sunny here. I'm filming later in the afternoon than I normally do. Okay, so I can't even think where I was last time, but I'm almost through. I've done all of the alphabet, and I have, zoom in, I have done the top row of numbers. I've done these 2 sets of numbers, and then 1 set of Roman numerals, and then there's another set of Roman numerals that go along here, and that is then all of the alphabet and numbers done. And then we get to get into the fun part further down the sampler. I mean, not that the alphabets weren't fun, but we get to get into the, I would call them borders, or dividing lines, that kind of thing that they've done. Harriet stitched in the samplers. I can't wait to get into those. So tomorrow I should hopefully finish that last set of Roman numerals along here, and then we'll start the other part. She is being stitched on, sorry for the wobbles, that's really nice shot there of her material as well. So I have managed to finish another spool as well. We now have 2 empty spools, one there, 103 silks in colour number 648. And I chose that colour because I wanted it to match the colour of the printout on the material that we could purchase from Hands Across the Sea of Harriet Salt. And I love that. And I am going to dye the fabric, just tea dye dip, when it's done, just to age it just that tiny little wee bit. I don't want it too much. I should have done it before, but I'd already started it on the cream, which I quite like too, so I may still change my mind. But that is Harriet. So that's my every morning stitch now. We're just going to drop some things on the floor because we're going to run out of space very quickly. Alright, so let's start with the next one. Another project that I worked on while I've been, because I was off work for 10 days I think it was, and stuff, so I did get a wee bit of stitching. So Scarlett, Warrington, 1838, she came out to play. This was the one from Needlework Press that was in exclusive to the Homespun and Needlework Facebook group. Sorry about the glare, that's just from the big light. But love Scarlett. Scarlett is being stitched on, in a second. I'm going to drop the book back in her bag. Write it on here, Scarlett. Nope. Be on this tag. It is on its tag. Scarlett's tag is 46 count hog bristle from Fox and Rabbit using Weeks Dye Works. So 1 thread over 2, and this is where I'm at. So what did I stitch? Green thread hanging there. I finished off this branch here, so I just had the green fill-in to do. So that was done. I filled in the green on this tree. Did a couple more rows of green in the grass. And then I concentrated over here with the side of the castle. Well, I call it a castle. It might be a house, but I call it a castle. So we've still got another little window to come in here. A little bit more brickwork. Another window and a little trough. So basically it kind of repeats very similar to this over this side, and then the mortar fill in all in between, and I've still got red bricks to go here where my fingers are. But absolutely loving how Scarlett is coming out. I did also do a little bit more of the dark green grass down here, just working my way across slowly. So Scarlett got a little bit of, like I say, a little bit of love, not any big stitching days on her, but I'm happy with my progress. Just gorgeous, those animals, especially against that dark grass. Stands out lovely. So that was Scarlett. Oops. Sorry, going to be a wee bit bobbing up and down. Okay. Right. So another one that came out and was stitched was another Hands Across the Sea samplers. Mary Ann Diaper, 1826 from Hands Across the Sea. And this is gorgeous. Gorgeous sampler. I am stitching mine on 36 count that I dyed myself. And I'm using DMC threads. These are the gorgeous colours. Absolutely gorgeous. And we made quite a bit of progress on Marianne. So here's the full picture now. I'll bring it in closer. So this time round, I had the blue basket done and I stitched the fruit on the top. And then I've come up and I've picked the main pink flower here. There's a little bit of white stitching to finish just in this part here. And then I come down and I've started on the second pink flower. The stem work and the big bow. There is a couple big flowers still to go. So this is where I worked in the middle. There's a big star flower on this side. And then up the top, it's kind of hard to see in the picture, there we go, is some about 3 or 4 small flowers at the top, and then a lot of greenery to go in there. So I was really pleased with my progress on Mary. She's starting to look really gorgeous. I know I kind of jumped around a wee bit on this sampler. It just depends on what's holding my interest at the time, or how much stitching time I have. Sometimes I'd like to get a little motif done if I don't have a lot of stitching time. Okay, so there's Mary Ann. There's a big pile on the floor when we are done. Right, so next one that came out to play with, one that we haven't seen for a while. And that is by Cross Stitch Antiques, and it's called I Had a Father Kind and True, Alice Clark, 1844, and this is the one. The picture is like of the antique, I believe, and some of the details you just don't see until you kind of start stitching on it, but I'll show you where I got to. So I'm stitching her on 46 count hog bristle from Fox and Rabbit, using 103 silk threads. So stitching 1/2, and this is where I'm at now, which is really nice to see quite a bit of progress. I did spend a wee bit of time on Alice. So we got this big strawberry in here. That one got coloured in. We finished doing this whole house. So I had the side bits, the roof, the bottom, the outline of the door, and some of the little like grey and blue brickworks. Quite hard to see. Yeah, and that's a better shot. And I got everything finished, so that whole motif is completely done now. I then came along and I had the outline base of this here, which has still got some more colour to go in. Started doing the branches and making the flowers on top. So there's still another colour to go up here. There's the needle wobbling. And more red here and another red flower to go on this side. But I'm so pleased with my progress on Alice. The big tree here is Tree of Life. So Adam and Eve will come in underneath here shortly, and there's still a branch and a half to go up here. But absolutely, I was so pleased to pull this one back out and give it some love. This one was started in either August or September, but during Stash Sampler starts in 2023. So for 2 years, that's not a lot of progress. So we need to get going on this. Because, you know, we're working on those samplers. We want to, organising the samplers, we want to stitch and start for Stash Sampler starts. So there's my Alice. Hello, baby. Oh, I'm going outside. Okay. Up next. Let's make sure I grab the right one. There's another Hands Across the Sea samplers. Harriet Campbell, 1838. This is gorgeous. I'm stitching mine on and I do not have it written on there. Must be on the other part. This is being done with the 103 silks as well. And I have, I wrote it down here. I believe it's 46 hog bristle. I think it was the piece that was left over from the bottom of the other one, because it had almost 2 yards of it, so you will see it pop up regularly. So this time in here we finished, what did we work on? Okay, so we worked on the reds in the border. So I had the outline, but I folded in this one, this one, this one, this one, this flower, the crown, because that is 1/1, and this whole tree, and then 3/4 of this tree here was what I worked on. So I kind of have tried to fill in here. There's still another animal bird to go here, and a couple of details in these 3 here, and finish that one. I think that's all that goes into that kind of quarter. But henna is looking lovely. There's probably about her true colours. It's not a big sampler on this size fabric, but there's a lot of detail in here. Absolutely loving how she's coming out. I did have a little bit of extra red thread, and I have brought that along here so that we can just slowly use it up. But henna is looking gorgeous. Okay. Right, so another favourite came out to play, and that was Our Forest Embroidery, and it's the Everflowering Garden. I always forget the name of it. I know it's garden, but Everflowering Garden. Okay, so I was working up in the top section. This is where we are at complete now. So lots of great work. This is where I was stitching. So what did we do? We have done along the border along here, because we were here. I put the red in, and I've come across and then started coming down here. That's all I got done this time on Everflowering Garden. I don't think I had. I think I had that in last time. If not, then I added that as well, but I'm pretty sure that was already there, and I just did the greenery this time round. So for those that don't know, everything that is on this side gets mirrored onto this side of the design as well. Stitched on, so many tags on these things, 46 count, using DMC threads, and here are all the lovely colours. Gorgeous. There's not a lot in Everflowering Garden. 46 count up in the attic. I knew it was 46 count. So this one I started on Christmas Day in 2021. So yeah, not quite 4 Christmases, because we're 2025 now, so 3 Christmases. We need to get stitching a bit more, I believe. Would like to get all of this completed by the end of the year, if not more, but that's the goal. And I think we will. We're only in May. But absolutely, Everflowering Garden, loving it. So, come down there. Oops, we'll move that in with that, because I'll forget where it goes. Okay, another one of my favourites, I guess I would say, and one that I have really put a wee bit of time into while I was off, and I'm so pleased because I've made awesome progress, and I'm gonna say I've made awesome progress. Examplars from the heart, and they sinned. So this is the long skinny one. It has the story of Adam and Eve. It is gorgeous. I'm stitching it on 40 count, and these are all the colours, lots of beautiful colours. They are Gentle Arts and mostly Gentle Arts, and a few DMCs, just where I've either run out, so I've used the alternative, or I couldn't get the Gentle Art, so I've picked an alternative. Okay, so this, and we have to come way back here to get it all in, and I know you can't see too much from way back here, but everything is complete now apart from the last scene. So when I was off, we got all of this finished. So the birds have been stitched, the stars, the little parts along the top, crowns, I think they were, yep, crowns. So that part, that little section got completely finished. And we came down here to the last part that I'd was stitching on, and that is now all complete as well. I can't think, it was little bits and pieces. I know I had to do this and a couple of the little wee motifs. Finish the lion, he needed to be finished, and there's a few other just little bits and pieces, the outline of the sheep, the grey in the sheep. But absolutely love how this is turning out. So when I pick it up next, we'll be into the full coverage area, which is the last scene, and we've still got quite a bit of, I'm touching the ceiling now, we've still got quite a bit of fabric to go, but it will come down about here, I believe. But I'm honest, I am just wrapped with where I'm at now. So when I do this, we're going to have to the grass, and it is on a diagonal, and there's two colours. So you do 2 rows of one colour, 2 rows of the other colour. You've got your motifs to put in, and then you keep alternating between the two to give that nice stripe effect. So I can't wait to get into that. I may even pull this out tomorrow, being a Sunday. We'll see how far we get with the motifs that I'm stitching on the project I'm stitching on today, if that all made sense. But I loving it. So yes, she's a big girl, and I'm not overly tall. I'm only 5'3". So, and if I put that there, she's halfway down my thigh. So she's a big girl, but gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So that is indecent. Okay, I'm just going to pop her away. The cats are around, so if I leave the threads out, they'll be gone, and I'll be hunting for days. All right, so my next one that I worked on was another Hand Across the Sea samplers, Sarah Brazier, 1829 from Hands Across the Sea samplers. I'm stitching mine on 56 count, just a white Zweigart, and I am using DMC threads, and it stitches up lovely. I just use smaller lengths, and that end, just, yeah, you just gotta, once you get the technique of it, it's not so bad. I know everyone says don't stitch DMC on 56, but honestly, if you can get the neck right, you're fine. But loving how that is. Colours are gorgeous. Okay, so you want to see what I got done? So here's the whole picture. Come in a little bit closer. Right, so this time around, so I'm just watching the stool that's there with the bags on. This centre section here is what I stitched on. So we're a little bit more of like the framework, the stitches and the flowers coming along, and down this side's going to match this part. I did a couple of runs of satin stitch up the top here, but nothing to really write home about, just a little bit. But to get this big centre motif started, and almost, I would say, 3/4 of the way through it, was really great to get that accomplished. But Sarah is looking amazing. I can't wait to have her finished and up on my wall. But we've got a good few weeks of stitching yet to go. I would say Sarah will get us through the winter before we see the end of her. But she's gorgeous. I do love her. She was Queen of the May for 2018 for Hens Across the Sea. Right, so on that same board I have the piece that I have stitched some on and I actually pulled out to work on again today. And that is Florence Mary Dickinson, another Hens Across the Sea sampler. This one was an exclusive to Hobby House Needleworks. I don't know if you can still get it. Sorry, I keep forgetting to check. Being stitched on 46 count tabby cat with 103 silks. And here is where I'm at. So last time I stitched on it, don't want to drop it all. I finished off all the detail in the flower around here. There were just little bits and pieces, little bits of greenery, and that needed to be finished. I've still got the runs of the ribbons. We finished that, and we finished off, I had a couple little bits to finish in these guys, so they're all done. Now this time, I picked this up last night and this morning, and we've stitched the little bird in the top up here. Started the flowers that go in the basket, so the same as this one. The tree was already there in the green, but I stitched this little bird here, and then I've come down and I'm starting this basket here is on this side as well. So this motif is what I want to finish this weekend. That's my goal. And I'll hopefully get that done, because I really would like to finish that part out for this round. So we're getting closer. There's not a lot left to go. There's a little motif that goes here and here. These get repeated over here, and then it is literally just the name and the bottom of the border. I've got a little bit more work in the border. Need to bring all the colour down on this one, and then across the bottom. But it is looking gorgeous. So I'm not sure yet whether I am going to, and that's why I haven't done the bottom here, whether I'm going to put Florence's name in it or whether I'm going to put one of my great grandparents again on this one. I haven't decided yet. That's why I'm leaving the name till last. I do have two great grandmothers that will fit in here. So I just need to decide which one it's going to represent. But I do like it. It is gorgeous. Alright, so that is all of, no it's not, sorry. Bear with me, I'm just going to move the other pile over now. Here is just wanting to do its own thing today. Okay, so let's have a look and get rid of some of the smalls. Okay, my last sampler that I worked on was Serenity from Teresa Kogut. She is being stitched on a piece of 46 count up in the attic. Here is where I'm at. Now this was one of my birthday starts, so I really do need to get going. It'll be January again before we know it. So I worked up on here on this piece of the basket up in the corner, which is, sorry for the glare, one of these, well, you can see it on that side anyway, one of the little birds. So I'm working on the basket of berries on this side. So not a lot. I mean, it never looks like much, does it? But a lot of stitching, really. I'm doing my Teresa with Kogut's Serenity with Dickinson threads. And I love the colours of this, they're gorgeous. So that's where we are with Serenity. Okay. Now we've got some of the smalls that I worked on. Right. The first one was the Prairie Schooler, the Sheets one. Sorry, excuse me. Prairie Schooler Centre 2025. There he is. So, what did we stitch? We've stitched the other boot. and I've come more down with the green here and filled in his gloves. So not a lot yet, a couple of rows of red, but that was it. Didn't get as much stitching time as I'd hoped for working on him, but he stays in my car at the moment, and you know, if I can get 10 stitches in or 20 stitches in, that's great. Okay, another one that I worked on, which was a stash sampler start from last year, so I want to get this one finished, which honestly will not take long, was Icy Red from the Scarlett house. Gorgeous little wee red sampler. She is being stitched on, oops, come back here, a piece of, I think it's decrepit 40 count from number 12 Stitch Co. What did I stitch on that? Can't remember. There's a sampler I'm doing on it, and this was a part of the piece that I had left. So it's just a big long strip, but honestly I have some over one to do. Yep, so I have this over one alphabet here to do, and then our big alphabet at the bottom, and that motif and that motif. How's that? Nope, and a little bit more than I thought. And the STUVWXYZ and the two little roses. So that row there, so 4 rows, last 4 rows to go. When I pulled it out and worked on it last week, I did the over one hearts up the top here, and the over one top layer of the alphabet. I'd already done the bottom one, but I did the top layer up here, and then came down. I'd done the L and the M, but I came down and did the little motif underneath there, because I was going to carry on with the 1 over 1, but I ended up having to go to an appointment, and when I come back I didn't feel like stitching it again, so it hasn't got very far, but I'm happy with it. Another one that I need to get off that list. Okay, so another one I pulled out, smaller stitch, was Stacey Nash Primitives 1806 Manor House Sewing Roll, and this is the one with the big red house and the girl in the pot. So this time round, I didn't do any house fill. Last time I did some more house fill, and that was it. So I had the main vine, but I've gone and put the leaves in, and then it's kind of hard to see, but there is, if I put it that way, I want to get that, trying to not get that glare on it. There is like a real light border, if you can kind of see it, that comes around the box of these girl and the other bits. So I've started that. Here it is, here and up here, because I want to bring the rest of that vine up in the greenery on that, because then I can go back and fill in the last little bits, and then it is just in this section. And the house fill's easy to do, but I want to get the other bits kind of done first. So there is Stacey Nash. So I've got till July for Lizzie the Stitcher's next birthday, where I have another Stacey Nash that I want to start, but I'd like to have this one first. Okay, so one I have concentrated on, and I mean concentrated on, especially the first couple of days after I was back from my operation. The one I picked up was Simple Gifts Spools from Jeanette Douglas. This was another exclusive from the Homespun Needlework group on Facebook. Came with the spool, but it's one big long one, and then there's a really lovely little, you can kind of see it here, lacy border that goes around it, and that has satin stitches in every single one of those in all the different colours. So I've had to put 2 boards together to fit this in. Here it is. when I picked it up, I had half this bird done. Yeah, half the bird done. I've stitched this flower. This is the spool with the little flowers on top. I've still got to fill in the spool. The lady with her watering can, she's all finished. So is the tree. So is the house. After the house, there is a star that comes about here. But all of this border here, so I brought that along, that was back down here. That has to come all the way along here and then kind of comes on a V back the other side and across the top, and then all filled in with all the different colours of the satin stitches. But this is gorgeous, a great fun little wee project. So I'm hoping to spend a little bit of love on this one this week as well, and hopefully maybe by the time we see it next time we'll have finished. If not, we're going to be very, very close. But I think once I get that border finished, the star, that spool's not going to take long. Then it's only the satin stitches, and honestly I think there's about 5 satin stitches inside each one, so it's not going to take long. It is being stitched on 36 count dolly medicine, which was supplied in the kit, along with most of them are Weeks Dye Works and Classic Colourworks threads. They're a bit messy, but they're gorgeous to stitch with. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is my last project that I stitched on. So as you can see, I did a lot of stitching, but not just stitching. I'm just going to take a mouthful of water. Sorry, excuse me. When I couldn't stitch, I decided to pull out a couple of projects out of my box of need to fully finish, and I pulled out the pears. So the Redwork pears and the Bluework pears from Any Beez. I can't. I love these. I have the other 3 sets still to stitch. But beforehand I had done this one here, the ABC, and that was all finished, fully finished from the red set. So this time we got the fully finished of the other 2 little sampler ones. That's your tops. The fabric that's on the back, if I hold it like that you can kind of see the lovely fabric. It's a red on red, dark burgundy red on the red. Goes nicely with these. I stitched these with what is it, PB 46 from Silks for You, that I'm doing one of my big red samplers with, and I used a tiny bit to do these. Honestly, they don't take much. We've done the little herringbone stitch all the way down there on all sides, and they just have just a purple or burgundy felt little bottoms to hide the joints. But I absolutely love these. These sit in front of the TV. These guys, and there's them. Turn them sideways. So that's the red set. They were stitched on 36 count. Then the blue set we stitched on, now I can't remember, and I forgot to look it up, and I was going to do that before we started, if they were 40 or 46. I think it's 46. They just look way smaller. It's the blue one. These were a bit rounder than what I did the others. I'll show you the fabric after. Blue, the alphabet. Here's your little floral motif. And number 3. Gorgeous. This, now I have 2 lots of fabric. So I have 2 of them, 2 of the 36 count. 2 of the 36 count. 2 of the 40 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 Yep, 2 of them with this one. And the one in the middle is just with this one. I didn't have enough. It was just a tiny scrap that I used to do. But that's fine. They don't have to all match. So these also sit in front of the TV. And these guys just have a little wee green bottom. But hard to kind of hold them all there so you can see them. But love stitching these. And the assembling when you can't concentrate and count properly was really nice to be able to do. Okay, so I have the others to stitch, and I will get to those because I really want them all done. Alright, so I'm still getting my Stash Sharper Starts project kitted. There's a couple that I need to dye fabric for. I think I've got all the threads now. No, I hit 2 spools of silk that I'm short on. But other than that, and then I'll be able to do that video. But I have decided on my Christmas in July stitching. Other than working on my Prairie Schooler 12 Days of Christmas, which I will work on that as well. I have decided that this will be my main Christmas in July stitching. And it is the JBW 15, what are they? Sing a Song of Christmas. Little stockings that came out a very, very long time ago. But Judy put them into a booklet for market last year. Was it last year, Judy, or was it this year? Does it have a date in it? Let's have a little moment. No. The recent one. No, not the one this year, so it must have been last year. I can't remember, or was it close to Christmas? Whenever it came out. Waffling now, sorry. So I'm going to stitch them. On the back here is all 15. I'm just going to stitch them on 36 count. Sorry, I've got a piece of 36 count. And they'll end up being like 3 inches by 4 inches, which is a perfect size for on the Christmas tree. And they're just gorgeous. There's not... Some have a wee bit of stitching, some don't have a lot of stitching in them. So I thought they'd be perfect for Christmas in July. So here's my fabric. Right, 30 count Swagart. I am going to dye it. Just a nice neutral. Because I know some are white, some are beige. And I thought if I just do them all as beige, they kind of all go together. And I think the white will stand out a lot nicer on them. But you can see like the top ones up here are a lot darker than these ones. So I'm just going to do them all as a very, very light tan fabric. So I'll be dyeing that probably tomorrow actually. I've got a couple that I want to dye. And I've got heaps. Sorry, it's probably a metre there. That will be heaps. So yesterday when I was at work, I thought, I know I have all the DMC threads. Like seriously, I do. I have the whole set. But I thought, I'm going to be doing more than one set of these. You all know me by now that that's what I do. There'll be a couple of sets for gifts. But here, it's all of the DMC colours to make up those stockings. And for some of them, honestly, there won't be much thread used. And for the others, they will definitely use a little bit more. But I thought, right, I'll just get all new. Because that way then I know I've got enough to do the 2 or 3. Well, I can end up being 3 sets, I think, for these. But like I said, there's not much. I have to dig out, and I have got a box that has lots of little wee tiny gold Christmas charms. And I thought, well, it doesn't matter if they're not exactly the same as what Judy used in these. I've got little wee bells. Tiny, tiny little wee bells. Tiny stars. Yeah, see? Gold beads. Bells. little beads in here. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. So that's my Christmas in July. So if anybody would like to, you've got plenty of time to kit up. If you don't have the book, plenty of time to get the book. Like I said, you can use Classic Colourworks. She's got Krennic in here, Mill beads, Weeks Dye Works. I chose to just do the Dickinson threads because there's honestly, you're not going to see any colour variation in the stitching. If you look at this one here, like you wouldn't see the variation in the colour stitching, so DMC is perfect for doing these. Absolutely perfect. And I've got heaps of beads. I've got Krennic. Yeah. So I'm just doing them DMC. But I thought if anybody wants to do it, stitch along for Christmas in July, you're more than welcome. I'll be posting on Instagram and we'll update on my Flosstube as we go. And I will remind, what are we in May? So probably over the next couple of Flosstubes, I'll just remind everybody this is what I'm doing. I'll show you my dyed fabric. I'll put my DMC threads on thread drops so that we're ready. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. So I can't wait to start those. They might have to push aside the red stitching. Red stitching might have to be done after work instead of before work. But yeah, other than that, thank you very much if you've made it right through to the end. I'm sorry it's been a little bit long, but like I said, I had lots of stitching to do. I did watch quite a few Flosstubes. Honestly, I was, slept for a few days afterwards, the surgery, and then after that I was pretty much awake for like 18 hours a day, so lots and lots of Flosstubes. So it was great. I got to catch up on a lot of people. I'm not going to name people because, honest, I will forget to name somebody. But yeah, it was great. Lots of Flosstube, lots of neck flicks, lots of cat company, lots of cat cuddles, so it was awesome. So thank you. Hope you enjoy. Sorry, a lot of ums in this one, isn't there? Hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next Flosstube. So don't forget, one stitch at a time. We'll get those samplers up behind us done. We'll get the little bits, the pillows, the cushions, all those things done. We'll also get the assembly of like our pears. That's what they were, pears assembled. So happy stitching, everybody. One stitch at a time. See ya.